think that probably the area of concern energy sound like a terribly good thing. I must admit, I was a little surprised. I didn't think they were brilliant, but I didn't see a particularly lethargic side. I just saw a side that wasn't really finishing its chances. I think if you were to sort of dive into the way City play, and I know we have this recurring conversation about Haaland's role, and we've sort of seen the best of him and also the most inconsequential aspects of him as well. I think the first goal's a absolute beauty, lovely little finish, but it's actually his first touch of the game, and they've been playing for the better part a quarter of an hour. I love the merit of a number 9 who is that effective in front of goal, but they have to find a way of getting him in the game more. I know he does strong movement, he brings other guys into the game, and that's usually his argument as well, of course. But you're watching games going on around him and thinking that this isn't the most efficient way, but when he does get the ball, he's absolutely lethal. I think it's something like 5th game on now. I mean, the guy's a monster. You just want to see them find a way of involving that monster a little bit more.
Yes, Shaban, I saw you nodding along there, particularly when Riyadh was talking about Haaland's quotes about the lack of energy at this point in the season. It doesn't look good. But, I mean, when we come to talk about City, we just think to a couple of seasons ago how ruthless they were. The fact that they dominated so well in this game, you would have probably expected them to put this game to bed. And to Riyadh's point, Haaland having 7 touches in that second half, but in that game, and only making 2 goals. Is that unlike him, unlike City of old?
I mean, Erling Haaland's doing his job. I mean, look at his numbers. They speak for themselves. He's been magnificent so far this season. And just watching him tonight, as Raith says, I mean, he's just wonderful. His movement, his first touch, he's constantly leaping in the air. He's just, for me, he's perfect, you know, and he's doing his job for Pep Guardiola, but you can understand why you would want to see him more involved. And then to come off and to make those comments about, perhaps a lack of energy, it's not an easy, shift coming up. You've got to look at the fixtures ahead of them. For Manchester City, they're going away to Brentford, then they've got Everton, they've still got Villarreal in the Champions League ahead of them, and then it's Liverpool and Newcastle. So they've got a tough shift ahead of them. But what I would say is that they were positive tonight, they were dominant in the game. And Phil Foden, I think he could have scored as well at some stage of the game. So they are looking good. It's just, it's moments like that will change the game. That penalty, meaning they didn't come away with a win kind of thing. But I still think they'll be feeling okay moving forward for what's ahead. And for me, Haaland's doing the job that he's been set to do. That's score goals, and he's doing it.
Yeah, 15 goals in his last 8 games now tonight, Riyadh. How important is it that City have a man who knows where the back of the net is if they're going to challenge for any trophies this season?
No, I think we're seeing a sharper version of Haaland this season compared to last. Certainly, I think I can be a little bit tedious in banging this old drum, but I do think they used to get the best out of him with De Bruyne, and of course you're gonna miss a guy like that, and it probably sort of causes some anguish for people when you watch him getting a couple of assists for Napoli as well tonight. But so they'll have to kind of get over their broken hearts somehow with that one. But with Haaland himself, I mean, if this form sustains itself over the season, and we've seen in the past that he can do that, they are going to be right up there. I'm sure we're going to come into more detail on the title race soon enough in the show, but I'd expect a sustained challenge from City this season. I think what we're also seeing as well is we're still very much in the early days of Rodri coming back in, getting his own sharpness back. He's not there yet, but we also know that when they unlock that, when he gets to that place, we're talking about arguably the best player in the Premier League and one of the finest in the world. So they've still got that to look forward to as well. I wouldn't be overreacting to an away draw in the Champions League.
OK, moving on to Arsenal, 2-0 win for them against Olympiacos at the Emirates. Looking at the back page of The Sun, They've gone on the left-hand side there. He gabs another, Gabriel Martinelli, with another goal tonight, the opening goal at the Emirates. Shaban, for a man that was under pressure, that was criticised, he seems like he's up to the challenge of challenging for his jersey each game.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot take that away from Martinelli. That's 3 and 4 now. For him, really proving a point. And Jess, we have this conversation tonight, watching that performance from Arsenal, seeing what they've been able to do at the weekend and closing the gap at the top of the table that little bit more. I mean, Mikel Arteta has the most outstanding squad. You know, you can look at his bench and go, wow, magic. And again, it's the finishers coming on tonight. It was Bukayo Saka, you know, comes on and wins them the game to make it 2-0. And at that point, actually, it was starting to turn, wasn't it? They were under a wee bit of pressure towards full time. But I mean, all round brilliant. And I know you guys are going to say it, so let me say it first. But Martin Odegaard, absolutely sensational. Could have had 4 assists tonight. They could have scored a few more. But the one thing that'll come away from watching that game from tonight is, should Arsenal be killing these games sooner? You know, should they be far more clinical in these situations? But they were magnificent. Odegaard, guys, I don't know if it's his new haircut, but wow, he was magic tonight. He was so good.
So impressive. And Ria, this is coming from a team that made 6 changes after that dramatic win against Newcastle last time out. We talk about Arsenal's strength in depth this season, and there it was tonight in full view.
Look at the second half. They brought Saka, Eze, and Declan Rice off the bench. It's you know, if you can do that, you're in pretty good shape. And I think Saka in particular, I think he's a fabulous player. They might have a little bit of an issue now with Madueke. I don't think he was going to be knocking Saka out of the starting lineup in the long term, but to be able to rotate it around and have that choice of Martinelli, Trossard, Saka, Madueke, Eze, all of those as wide options, that's absolutely devastating. But when we look at Arsenal, and particularly nights like this evening where they're very, very strong going forward, I did think they rode their luck a little bit in the second half. Certainly, going to Shaban's point, they should have killed that game off a little bit sooner for what they created. But in terms of the balance of that squad and the qualities that they've got, we're talking about a team that we're into October now and they've conceded 3 goals this season. It's a fantastic defence. It's a fantastic attack. It's the deepest squad in the Premier League. So, you know, if not now, when? As the phrase goes, for them actually delivering on this. I know we've kind of had this recurring conversation about Arsenal psychologically, whether or not there's a hurdle there that they need to get over in their own minds before they can deliver. But really, they've got every single ace in the pack at the moment. It looks like a season when they could do something special. I think, you know, again, we'll probably come on to Liverpool at some point where they're at. We've spoken a bit about City, but when I look at that Arsenal squad, I don't see an inferiority to anyone else out there. So it's a very promising season for them, and they're also building, just to sort of disappear down a slight tangent here, but this home record as well that they've got in Europe at the moment is astonishing. I think 8 Champions League games. They've not conceded a goal. It's, you know, everything right there when you look at it should be in place, but it's Arsenal. We've got quite a hefty body of work accumulated in the past that shows that they won't get it done. So I think they've got a great chance here.
Okay, and also I feel as though Arsenal playing well, this incredible record that they've got at home, as you rightly mentioned, Ria, talk about making the Emirates a fortress. But Shaban, Bukayo Saka back on the score sheet again. We know he's not quite back to his best, but that will do his confidence the world of good.
Of course it will. Of course it will. I mean, Olympiacos keeper won't want to watch that back, you know, through his legs. But it was that wee bit of magic from Bukayo Saka. Last time I was here, we speak about, you know, Saka, and when he's injured, he's so missed. And then when he's there in the team, he's sometimes maybe underappreciated how much he can add to the attack of Arsenal. All round, they're just looking really, really strong. And again, that squad depth comes into it. Even Gyökeres tonight, the work that he did in the lead up to Martinelli's Chelsea's goal. Again, Odegaard, David Raya pulled off 3 wicked saves tonight as well. So all over the pitch, they look very, very strong. And Bukayo Saka will be a huge part of it if Touchwood is to stay fit. But if they are to go on and win the title this season, you know that he'll be a huge part of that.
Yep, and they've got another home game next before the international break. Roll on West Ham, Arsenal fans will be saying. Shaban Riyadh, thank you for the moment. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll look at more of the sports stories in the morning's newspapers, including this in the Metro. Is it time to panic at Liverpool? Curtis Jones calls for calm. We'll discuss that next. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Back Pages tonight, and welcome back to TalkSport broadcaster Shaban Ahern and the Daily Mail's Riyadh Al Samurai. I want to get into Newcastle now. Big victory for them away in the Champions League. In the back of the Express, we can see here Gordon lives tune with deadly aim. 2 goals for him tonight, Shaban, and this would have been the perfect response that Eddie Howe would have wanted to see from his side after that dramatic loss against Arsenal.
Yeah, this is the bounce back that Newcastle needed. Fair play to them to go away and to have their biggest win in the Champions League ever, and to get the first away win in the Champions League in 22 years. That is, putting themselves on show as the team that they can be, and they're looking promising. Eddie Howe had said in the lead up to this game that sometimes it takes his team and his players time to click to the way that he really wants them to play. Tonight, the front three were absolutely absolutely sensational. And to bang in 4 goals like that, yes, a couple of penalties, but they put them away. It was absolutely brilliant. Voltemada and Tonali, I mean, the Voltemada flick was just, they had those elements of magic tonight. And I think to come away from what happened last weekend, in the fashion that they lost that game when they put so much into it, and quickly bounce back like that away. Eddie Howe, as we've seen post-match, pretty delighted with his team.
Yeah, as Shaban mentioned there, Riyadh, this is the first time that we've seen Voltemada, Elanga and Gordon all starting a match together. They look good, didn't they?
Look, obviously, Voltemada's come in on the back of what I'd probably describe as some quite unhelpful comments from Karl-Heinz Rummenigge at Bayern Munich. I don't think those were terribly flattering or edifying. Sounded a little bit jilted and jealous in it. Look, did they overpay for him? Perhaps, but they wouldn't be the first club to do that in the market, and he's scoring goals, so fair play to him. And he's got huge shoes to fill from Isak there as well. But look, I think the signing that I was actually most excited by over the summer was Elanga. I thought he was tremendous at Nottingham Forest. I think he's got the speed to absolutely marmalise any fullback in the Premier League. We've not seen it yet. It's been quite a slow start for him, and that was one of those performances. He is a confidence player, and that was one of those performances that's going to perhaps echo for a couple more weeks. I'd love to see it because I think he's a brilliant player. Gordon's obviously got his 2 goals as well, so that's strong from the attacking perspective for Newcastle. I thought their best player by a distance was Tonali. You can see genius in there where he screens to the defence, ball winning. And it's also the intelligence of his distribution as well. He's a very, very smart player. And I think if you're taking that for, and obviously there's far more than that, but just even that 4 players as a basis, that's a very strong team. They've not done well enough in the league so far, and I don't think Eddie Howe would hide from that either. So we're really talking about sort of a need for a springboard there, but certainly encouraging that some of their key players are starting to show it.
Yeah. Let's move on to Manchester United, because you can see that story there in the Star in the left-hand column. And this is talking about Manchester United if they were to get rid of their manager, Ruben Amorim. Gates shut for United. Southgate possibly would reject the offer of the Manchester United job if they were to get rid of Amorim. Jeremy Cross in the Mirror is also covering this story. Shaban, this has really piqued my interest. Of course, we know that Gareth Southgate was a contender for that role before Amorim came on and took the role up. What do you make of this? Is this suggestions perhaps that Amorim is on his way out?
Jess, I just can't. I can't tonight with Man United in this story. I mean, yeah, we heard this over the weekend, didn't we? After the result against Brentford, that perhaps Gareth Southgate and I think Graham Potter, fresh after being replaced by Nuno at West Ham, would be in the frame to replace Ruben Amorim. Gareth Southgate, what he did for England, yes, he didn't win anything, but he did a very good job. You've got to give that to him. And that really does divide England fans, right? I completely understand that. Ruben Amorim, I feel that this is just journalist after journalist and report after report that his job is on the line, and he's had these 3 games to turn it around. And yes, they were gritty against Chelsea, they got a result, and then what happened against Brentford was just so unfortunate that it's becoming that stage where it's just hard to be positive and defend him and know that he's going to need time. Could Gareth Southgate come in and be a big enough personality and character to look after Manchester United? In a way,
well,
I think
he's looked over a large proportion of Premier League stars when he was England manager. This is it.
So yes, actually, when you really have a think about it, I think, yeah, maybe there is something in that. Maybe he's got a good shout there. I saw him recently at an event. And he seems in a very good place. Maybe he doesn't want to be in football
because he's not in management.
Tough. It's a tough place to be, never mind at Man United. So we will see about that.
Go on, Riyadh. What's your response to all this?
I think Manchester United would be very lucky to have Gareth Southgate. I think Amorim's done a very poor job there. I think he's very fortunate to catch the club at a point where they don't want to be seen to abandon another plan so quickly after they got rid of Ten Hag. But I've seen almost nothing from him to convince me that he's in any way a viable long-term solution for Manchester United. Having spent the week at the Ryder Cup, I would go as far as to compare his habit of repeating bad ideas to Keegan Bradley's. Assuming people watch the Ryder Cup, they'll understand how damning that comment is. But look, he strikes me as a perfectly decent chap, but who is in the wrong club at the wrong time for him.
OK, on to Liverpool. Curtis Jones, their midfielder, calling for calm after those back-to-back losses against Crystal Palace and Galatasaray. Shaban, should Liverpool fans be panicking? 2 losses in a row?
I don't think panicking. No, I think it is. It's too soon to panic. It's early days. He's spent big money, hasn't he, Arne Slot, in the summer. He's brought in big players and everybody wants to see them hit the ground running very, very quickly. Perhaps maybe he underestimated the opponent yesterday in Europe, resting the likes of Mo Salah and McAllister, and Isak not starting these games, coming in off the bench. Maybe they underestimated them. I'm not quite sure about that. But, I mean, you even look at Mo Salah, that was his first time on the bench in the Champions League since 2022 in October. So perhaps maybe there's something there. He's got to try it out. He's got to get it right. He's got to work out who his best team are. But I personally think it's too soon to panic. They've got Chelsea in the next game and then Man United. And I think for Liverpool, they are winnable games, but they've just got to kill the game sooner.
Yeah, Riyadh, we're just about coming to time, but you can just briefly give your opinion on this Liverpool one as well. Like, are they panicking yet?
I think there should be. No, the league table still looks pretty comfortable for them, and we know that Wirtz is a quality player who's going to take time to settle, and when he does, we know what they've got there. And Mo Salah's operating at about 60 or 70%, so there's room for growth from a proven genius of the Premier League, and they've got Ekitike and Isaac. I think you look at that front line, you've got nothing to worry about. The defence could be better. I think they're possibly paying a little bit for not having got the Gahey deal over the line, but you go over that Liverpool squad and you see nothing but a contender. It's 2 bad games.
It is. Not panic stations yet then for this Liverpool side. Shaban, Riyadh, it's been a pleasure to have your company on Back Pages. Shaban Ahern and Riyadh Al Samurai joining us. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Of course, if you've missed anything, as always, we are a podcast. Just search for Back Pages Tonight wherever you get your podcasts. That could be on Apple, that could be on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. OK, coming next here on Sky Sports News, we're going to be talking Pep Guardiola and Manchester City after they were pegged back